2 of the March 2022 Blitz. This is BHHS resource newsletters. Kristen Fredericks will be leading this as she does most of our online training technology classes. Will be recorded, and Haley will have it available Monday or Tuesday next week on the YouTube channel if you'd like to refer back or have questions on this. Again, as always, if you do have questions, feel free to unmute yourself, raise your virtual hand. Try not to raise your physical hand because we're not really monitoring the pictures because this is not a CE class. But if you are either Lewis or Lori, who I can see, you can raise your real hands and ask your questions that way. All right, without further ado, I'll turn it over to Kristen Fredericks. Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks. Tim, are you staying? I am actually in an office, so I do not have an extra screen today. So that's why I can't see any of the comments.
I'm staying and monitoring.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you so much. Normally I have a bunch of screens. All right. Go ahead here and share my screen. I'm going to turn off my video just so I can save some bandwidth here. All right, so in session 2 today, we're going to be talking about the newsletters that come out of BHHS Resource Center. So all the tools we're talking today are in BHHS Resource. For those of you who might not have been on the first one, just remember you can always get to BHHS Resource from Town Central, nice and easy. Here's the button right here, BHHS Resource. We also have a button over here, BHHS Resource IQ System. These are single sign-ons or SSOs, which means you do not need another username and password if you enter through the system this way. It's one less thing you have to remember. If you go ahead and click that, it's going to go ahead and open up the BHHS Resource Center. And today we're going to be talking about marketing resource right here. This is where we have the e-cards, the e-newsletters, postcards, and things like that. I've already opened it just for the sake of time, but it is going to open in a new window for you. And this is what marketing resource looks like. Okay. So today we're going to talk about e-newsletters very specifically. I'm not going to go into kind of the basics of e-cards and of the system here because I do want to speak specifically to the e-newsletters and what you can do with them in our system. I do want you to know that we do have 2 types of newsletters. We have a printable newsletter that you can, of course, use for any of your farming that you might want to send out. Some people are certainly sending out things like letters and stuff like that. We do have an e-newsletter that can be emailed to all of your clients. And then BHHS has done something really interesting with the e-newsletter information, and that it has created social images for each one of the e-newsletter topics so that you can use it on your website or you can use it on social media. So those are the 3 things I really want to cover today. If you need help with some of the basics like the library, the contacts, and things like that, the recording from the first class will be available next week, but you can also go up here to the help section right here. This actually goes to your knowledge base. And you can look up any topic that you'd like. So if you do need some help with just some contacts or how to get contacts into the system, you can go ahead and find it here. The other help section we have at any time, and this is universal across BHHS Resource in general, not just marketing resource, you'll see this turquoise button here in the corner on every single page of BHHS Resource. If you go ahead and click that, it's going to take you to the customer success team. These are real people who work for HSF. This does change based on who's on call. You can always call them, you can email them, but if you go ahead and put in your information here and ask your question, this starts up a live chat with them. So for example, if you get stuck, you can't remember something I've talked about today, you said, you know, I talked about e-newsletters and you can't remember how to find them, just open up a quick chat box. They know where you are in BHHS Resource on their system, and they'll be able to help you answer any questions that they have. They are available in hours that are a little bit different than web support, so they're 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific time, so they can help all of BHHS. So they are available in more after hours than we are here in web support. All right, so let's get into e-newsletters today and newsletters in general. The easiest way to find the newsletters is to literally type newsletter in the search bar. And that way you separate it out into everything newsletter only. I'm going to go ahead and hit search. And it's going to bring me up to all of the newsletters. Now, there is a big difference in the newsletters here, and I wanted to go ahead and point that out. We have the printable newsletters. Be very careful. If you have the intention of emailing this to a client, This is not going to do it for you. This is literally meant to be printed, stuffed in an envelope, handed out somewhere, you know, do something with your marketing sphere, your neighborhood sphere, that kind of thing. So these are printable newsletters. What you're looking for if you want to email something out is this e-newsletter right here. This means that this is in a format that is available. It's basically a giant e-card that can go out to your clients. Okay, so just be aware. Probably one of the top questions we get is, oh no, I made a newsletter and I can't figure out how to send it out. And it's usually because somebody has done a printable newsletter versus an e-newsletter. Okay, if you want to sort them out from here, maybe you only want the printables or you only want the e-newsletter. You can do that by clicking this type button over here on the left-hand side. And it's going to bring up what's available here. If we only want the e-newsletters, we can go ahead and click that. It's going to eliminate all the printables, so you don't have to worry about it. If we're looking for a printable newsletter, however, I can go ahead and click that, and it's going to eliminate all the ones that are e-cards that we can't print. And it's just going to go ahead and bring up our printables. Now, I want to stay here for just 1 second. We're actually going to go back to the e-newsletters here, but this is a little bit easier to see. I did want you to notice that all of the old newsletters are in the system and they go way back. You are welcome to use these articles in any way. This content is all provided to you. You can copy and paste these articles. You can copy and paste the information. Sometimes you might need a little bit of content for a different newsletter you're putting out. Maybe you need something for your website. Maybe you want to just start building pages of real estate information. It's great for SEO. It's great for search engine optimization, SEO. It's great just to create content for people. And a lot of this is very, very evergreen and universal things. So some of this, some of these articles might be things like, you know, when the National Association of Realtors stats come out, that might not be as evergreen as something like, you know, how to choose a paint color for a hallway, which is a lot more evergreen than something like a statistic. But they usually have a really good mix of different things in here, and also lots and lots of different topics. I just want to show you a couple of the topics that are available and that have been done recently. So this is our most recent one for March. This is going to be buying a second home overseas, or 5 home decor trends for 2022. We actually internally needed this article for something that we were doing, and we went ahead and borrowed this article and we just kind of jazzed it up a little bit for a little bit of local market information and went ahead and used it for a project that we were working on. So you can also see some of these other topics here that they have. So this was part of last month, which was Outlook for Housing 2022. Obviously a really great hot topic and something that you can interject some of your information into and some of your local market knowledge. And then the most critical period for new listings. This is a very evergreen article. The critical period for new listings has not changed since the beginning of real estate. We all know this. So this is a very evergreen article where that Outlook for Housing 2022 might not be as evergreen, but it's certainly great information for you to go ahead and put out there. Just going to show you a couple of other topics here, just so that you can kind of get a feel for how the newsletters work. So this one is how to negotiate with difficult sellers, and then add pizzazz to your bland kitchen. Certainly very timely right now, both of those. And then here's one about how much paint should you buy and ways your monthly payments can change. Okay, so I just wanted to give you kind of a flavor of what's available, but you can go back and you can take a look at all of these as well. So today, let's go ahead and focus on the e-newsletters, because printing newsletters is fairly easy. Once you go ahead and make any changes you want, you're literally going to hit the print button at the top of the screen, but the e-newsletters are just a hair difference. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. I'm just going to sort this out to the e-newsletter. And again, you can see all the different topics, all the different articles. There were only 2 in the printable version, but there's actually 4 available. There's 4 little mini topics available in the e-newsletters. And then as you go back in time, you'll notice that some of these articles are even longer. So some of these make great website content that you can go ahead and recycle and reuse. Some of these older ones in here. So they do release a new monthly e-newsletter every month, and they do hold back that content until toward the end of the previous month, just to make sure that all of our topics are timely. This started happening especially during the pandemic, as market conditions were changing so fast. We're still seeing it now, where sometimes an article, you would think it would be evergreen, but it may not be appropriate, or things have changed even in the last couple of weeks. So they are putting out content toward the end of each month. So you would have to go in when you want to send a new e-newsletter and just remember that the trigger is there, that that it's going to be toward the end of the month, and you can go ahead and schedule another one. So this is the one that's available for March right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click that one, and I'm going to go ahead and send this to my clients. So we can go ahead and preview this if we just want to see how this looks. This is what it's going to look like when it shows up in the email box. Completely branded. It's going to have a nice message at the top. Here's our articles, late payments and credit scores, built-in outdoor barbecue grills, and buying a second home overseas. And of course, that first one that we had, 5 home decor trends for 2022. Everything in the eCard system and marketing resource starts with get started. And then we're going to go ahead and give it a title. Now make sure this is something that you can look up again, because it's going to go into your My Library and you may want to go ahead and get back to it. So in this case, I'm going to put March 2022 newsletter. And it's going to go ahead and bring up the eCard system and our e-newsletter. Now, I want you to notice that this is ready to go out of the box. If you've taken any of my other classes, you know that when it's not ready to go and you still have to fill things in, this area up here says additional information is required. You will not be able to send it, link to it, push it out to Facebook, push it out to Twitter, push it out to LinkedIn until you have filled in all the boxes. The nice thing about the e-newsletters is they are ready to go. If you don't want to make any changes to this, you do not have to at all. But you can go ahead and change your subject line. So compelling real estate news. You can always brand this to yourself from whatever your agent name is. You can put, you know, your real estate report, March 2022. You can change your subject line however you'd like to. Okay. You are able to go ahead and change anything that has a green box on it. So if you want to put a slightly more personal message here, so if you want to talk to your people directly, whether you own a home or looking to buy or sell one, here are some of the latest good to know articles for when you're ready to take the next step in finding your forever home. So maybe you want to add something like, call me anytime for all your real estate needs. Here. So you can go ahead and personalize anything that has the green area in here. Okay, that includes this. So if you wanted to put realtor, MRP, SRES, most amazing person ever, you can keep filling it in. And so I wanted to show you that that box will continue to drop. So for those of you who do use this as kind of your little mini resume, your little elevator pitch with some of your information in it, that box does expand for you. Okay. All right. So you can go ahead and change these articles. Now, you know, I recommend that you make sure you read every single one of these. Make sure that this is in your voice. Make sure this is something you certainly want to use. But you can go ahead and change this. So you can change the title on here. You can change your 5 home decor trends for 2022. You can go ahead and interject something in here. If you'd like to, you can even change this photo. Maybe this photo is just too high end for, you know, your audience and you want to swap it out for something else. You can certainly do that. So if you go ahead and click that, you can either upload your own or you can search. Maybe you even want to put your own listing in here. There's nothing wrong with putting a highly decorated listing that you have or an old listing photo that looks great in this box for yourself. If you want to change anything in any of the articles, you can go ahead and click through. Maybe you want to add something. This particular article probably doesn't lend a whole lot to changing it, but if you wanted to go ahead and put something in here, maybe about maybe your staging services or something like that, you know. So something like my real estate services for sellers, a free staging consultation. To learn more. Okay. So maybe we just want to add something like that down at the bottom. Okay, so we can go ahead and add something a little bit personal. maybe we don't want to put something out. Maybe we don't want to be responsible for putting something out about late payments and credit scores, or maybe this is a negative article and we just don't want to have that in our newsletter when it goes out. Notice that we have all these check marks over here. If there's an article you don't like, just take it out. All you have to do is uncheck it. Watch what's going to happen here. Done. It's gone. We don't have to worry about it anymore. So now we're down to 3 articles. So now we have the home decor and trends. We have built-in barbecue grills. By the way, maybe you want to add something at the bottom here where you can maybe do a save search directly to homes that have an outdoor patio or something like that that might lend itself to a built-in outdoor grill. You can certainly do that. Try to direct people to your website. Buying a second home overseas. Okay, maybe we want to go ahead. We can always take this article out as well if we don't want that. Maybe we put the credit score one back in and maybe take out buying a second home overseas. But I also want you to notice that you have 2 options here for your own stories. Feel free to use these. If you want to talk about those market trends, if you want to talk about some things that you can get from some of your things like the Domus tools and stuff like that, go ahead and use it. So I'm going to go ahead and click that box just so you can see what it looks like. And it's going to go ahead and give you that article space here. So maybe you want to put something in here like Hampton Roads real estate trends this month. Okay. Maybe we've gone on the Domus tools and we've seen that, the average home prices up 23%, just making something up. And then go ahead and put in your little, just something you would talk about. Maybe somebody would, call you up on the phone and they would be like, I'm thinking about selling my house. Can you tell me what the market is doing? What can we expect? That answer you give them back. It's just that kind of quick thing, that market knowledge, that expertise that you have. Go ahead and put something like that in here. Average home prices are up 23%. Talk about it, that, that certain cities, maybe Virginia Beach is up 15%, but Chesapeake is up, 23%. Williamsburg is up 14%. So use that market knowledge, and all of that stuff is provided for you in a pretty easy format in those Domus tools so that you can actually speak to it very specifically with actual market knowledge that you can back up with stats that are real. And then, of course, you can go ahead and add a photo in here as well. Maybe you just want to add a picture of, if you're working maybe the Chesapeake Market, Virginia Beach, Williamsburg, whatever it happens to be. Maybe you want to just add a local photo in here so that people know that this isn't something that's just generic. Okay. Maybe it's something you want to talk about all the time. Maybe you want to add something in here, maybe about a client appreciation event that's coming up. You can always do that, maybe upcoming events. You can put whatever information you'd like in here. Now, I do want you to notice, though, that we do have these yellow areas. Remember I said that this is not going to let it send out if there's still things that need to be filled in. This is a little upset that I have not filled in my paragraph and I have not added a photo yet. And so it has removed all of my icons that I just had up here, and it says additional editing is required before this can be shared. It's not going to let you send something out that's going to look bad to your clients. It's one thing I do love about this system. So if you need to make additional editing, just take a look for these yellow areas. It just means that something is missing, or you need to fill something in, or you need to make some adjustments here, and then it'll be ready to send out. Just so we can go ahead and send, I'm going to go ahead and close these 2 stories that I made here. So all I'm doing is unchecking them, and it's just removing things. Okay, and I'm left with those 3 articles that I had: the home decor, the late payments, and the built-in barbecue grills. So once you've made your adjustments, you've made your changes, maybe you've added some personal information, you've done whatever you wanted to do on this article, it's going to give you a couple of options here. So we're going to go ahead and send this out today to our group of people. And you'll notice that we have this, that's our send button right here. All right. And it's going to bring me to our contact area. Now, we can do a couple of things here. We can go ahead and add a contact immediately if we'd like to. We can go ahead and import our contacts if we wanted to, or we can add them from our address book. Now, in this case, I already have people in our system. So here's our address book here. These are all of our individual contacts in our address book. If I only wanted to send it to maybe a couple of people, I could do that. And that's how we choose an individual. But most of us are probably going to have them grouped. Now, each of these individual contacts can belong to more than one group. You can have a neighborhood group, a past client group, an incubating group, a whatever group you want to have. You can always put people in different groups so that you can talk to them a little bit differently. Maybe some are more personal than others. Watch for this button up here in the upper right-hand corner. So right now we're on contacts. Those are our individual people. But if I go ahead and click groups, notice that some of these people are already grouped. Okay. So today I'm going to use this training group that I've already made. And I'm just going to add every single person that's in this training group here. Now, for an e-newsletter, this might be something you want to just send out to everybody. You just want to send it out to every single client you have. Keep an eye out for those kind of buttons. You can go, it'll go ahead and add everybody to your system. There we go. And it'll go ahead and add all of your contacts in at one time. Okay. I don't want to go ahead and use all of these. I'm just going to go ahead and use my training group today. And I'm going to hit add selected. Just going to go ahead and add those 4 people. In this case, it's most of our team here. And we can do one of 2 things. We can either send it now or we can schedule. Since we're already in March and this is the March newsletter, there's no reason why we couldn't go ahead and send this now. If I hit send now, it's going to go ahead and send this instantly. Or I can schedule it. So we know this newsletter comes out kind of toward the mid to end of February. So you can go ahead and pre-schedule it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm just going to schedule it to go out tomorrow. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick my date. So I'm going to pick the 11th. And I'm going to go ahead and pick my time. So maybe I want this to go out at early in the morning. So I'm going to pick 7 and 7:35. So if you've taken any of my other previous classes before, you know I'm a fan of changing this number into something very random. A lot of companies send out emails on the hour. So right at 8 o'clock, right at 7 o'clock, right at whatever it is. You'll notice that in your email box that you'll get a flood of things first thing in the morning from any shops you've done, anybody who's sending you any promotions or things like that. But a lot of companies don't do it kind of at a weird time. So maybe 7:25. It just makes your email stand out a little bit more, just to pick something just a little bit more random. So if I go ahead and schedule that, that's it. That's all we have to do. You can see that it's scheduled for 7:25 a.m. Tomorrow morning. If I didn't want to schedule it, I wanted to send it now, I could go ahead and click that button. It's just going to say, hey, do you really want to send this email? Are these people really people you want to talk to and they're not going to report you for spam? I hope most of you are going to say yes. And you're going to hit send now, and that's it. The newsletter is gone. Okay. If you want to get back to your newsletter for any reason, once you've sent it, you can always go to My Library instead of the Master Library. Remember, Master Library is everything in the BHHS system. It's every single e-card, postcard, social media thing, anything that you can possibly have. But your My Library, those are only things that you've uploaded to the system and only cards that you've sent. So in this particular case, we have a couple of just listed cards in here. Here's a St. Patrick's Day card. And of course, here is that e-newsletter.
Thank you for my newsletter. I just got it.
You're very welcome, Tim. I hope you enjoy it. Take advantage of the free staging consultation if you're ready to sell your home. Here's the nice thing about the e-newsletter, and this actually works the same way for everything else. So you can't adjust this once you've already sent it, but you can send it to more people. So if you open something that you've already sent, this works for e-cards too, and you click that email button again. Maybe you just got a new contact, you just met them today, you just sent out your newsletter, but you want to go ahead and send it out to them as well. You can go ahead and add a contact. You can go ahead and add a recipient. And poor Samantha. Actually, I'm going to send this to Clara. She hasn't received mail. All right, so notice that it's just gone ahead and added her to it, and so she's going to go ahead and receive this as well. Okay.
Hey, Kristen.
Sure.
There's a question. Can you rearrange the article order?
Yes, you can. So I can't show it to you on this one because remember I said I can't edit it, but let me start a new one and I can show you how to drag and drop real quick. Remember, we're just searching for those newsletters up here. Let me sort it by our e-newsletters. I'm going to go back just so you can see a different one. Let's go look at February's real quick. And remember, if you've never sent these out before and you like February's better, go ahead and just change this to March 2022 if you want to. You can go ahead and use this anytime. No big deal. We've done it before, it's okay. So if you like, so these articles in here, most critical period for new listings, new inquiries impact your credit, the outlook for housing 2022, and 3 home trends that will stay around. Okay, maybe outlook for housing 2022. This is a hot topic right now. Maybe we want to go ahead and move that one up to the very top. So see these 3 little bars over here? They're kind of hard to see right there. This means that you can drag and drop. So all you have to do is pick it up and kind of move it, just kind of make sure everything is pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. There we go. And there you go. Your outlook for housing 2022 is right here up at the top. Okay. So from here, we can go ahead and do a couple of different things. So remember, we already went and sent this out. Maybe we want to go ahead and create a link to this. Maybe we want to share this up to our Instagram. We want to make a link sticker. We can go ahead and do that. It'll give us a link to this particular newsletter. Don't forget, anytime that you make a change and you're ready to share, you're ready to close it out, it's going to give you this warning that says you can't make any additional edits to this copy once you've done something to it. So it says the same thing when we go ahead and send it out as an email. Okay. You can also go ahead and push it to Facebook, you can push it to Twitter, or you can push it to your LinkedIn as well. I am a big fan of pushing these to LinkedIn. Remember, LinkedIn is a little bit different. We certainly talk about more business topics, a lot more things relating to the market and things like that on there, especially because it's definitely touching the more business related things. So I'm a big fan of sharing these up to LinkedIn. Once you go ahead and click all those, works the same way. It's going to tell you that you can't make any copies to or edits to this copy once you have shared it, but it's going to go ahead and open your LinkedIn and it's going to go ahead and allow you to share that up to your LinkedIn account. Okay. So I'm going to go back to these printable newsletters here real quick instead of the e-newsletters, just so you can see that it works basically the same way. So this is, let's look at December's just so you can see a couple of different topics. Remember, everything in the system starts with get started. So this is our December newsletter. I'm going to hit continue. And again, we can change that header if we want to, if you have something custom that you want to go up there. If you like the December newsletter, but you want to use it this month, go ahead and just put March 2022. Remember, this is only going to be printable. Notice that these things have changed up here, that we can't, there's no email icon up here. We can go ahead and change the article. We can change some of the information. We can add our own stuff. And again, we can go ahead and actually embed this if we wanted to on a website. We can make a PDF, we can make a link, and of course we can push it to our social media, but it comes in looking very different than an e-card. It actually comes in looking like a document that they have to download instead. So I really recommend that we just use this for creating a PDF as something that we can go ahead and print if you wanted to do that. So it does work the same. It does work the same way. I'm going to go ahead and make a PDF of this just so you can see what it looks like. Give it just a second to do this. And there's our PDF. It looks really nice, really pretty. Everything's ready to go. And again, you can go ahead and make any adjustments to that if you want to as well. So I did promise you I would show you that you can use some of this content on your website. And I highly encourage you to do that. So let's take a look at this. I'm just going to, because it's here, how much paint should you buy? You can actually just copy and paste all of this information directly from here and add it as a page on your website if you want to. So if I'm going back to Town Central, I'm logged in as Mary Agent right now, and I go to Site Builder and Interior Pages. Just going to do something nice and easy here. I'm going to add a page. I'm going to name it. Now, remember, don't put punctuation in this page name because it'll screw up the hyperlink when you get done. And I'm just going to do a nice, easy text and an image, something nice and simple here. How much paint should you buy? Going to edit that page. And I'm just going to make this little article page right here. I'm going to make it just a couple seconds here. Pasting in my article. Remember, you can go ahead and add anything. You can change anything to this you'd like to. Here's my article down here. I'm going to add a quick little page image. So I might have an image for myself. I could have something in here. Maybe we just want to have something with a nice big painted wall in it. Just find something that's kind of appropriate to how much paint should I buy. We'll grab this one. So how much paint should you buy? It has a nice article into it. We hit publish page. And now that article is now available on our website, and we can go ahead and use that article to share it out to social media to be able to drive people directly back to our website. It also allows you to have all of that content on your website so you can use it as evergreen things so that you can go ahead and share it. You don't have to just share it once. Maybe you share it this month. Maybe you go back and share it in a couple of extra months. Maybe you share it over the summer, something like that. And that way you have these articles. SEO, Google loves this kind of stuff. And you can add this to things like your buyer and seller resources, just so you have these articles on your website. This content is all free to us. It's all provided by BHHS. It's all professionally written, and you can use it any way you'd like. You could even drop this into individual e-card if you wanted to. If you didn't want to go ahead and send out an e-newsletter, maybe you just want to send out something smaller, you can go ahead and do that as well. So I did want you to see that you can go ahead and fairly quickly make an article that's available on your own website that you can go ahead and share as well. Okay. Did anybody have any questions about the e-newsletters in Marketing Resource? I'm happy to answer any.
Yeah, we have a question.
Sure.
Kristen, you said something about the articles in the newsletter are free, as in free as we don't have to cite the source?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. These are free for you to use. Any other questions about the newsletters?
If you have a question, you can unmute, type it in the chat, raise your virtual hand. All right, I don't see or hear any other questions coming, so thank you all for joining us for BHHS Resource Newsletters. Coming up at the top of the hour, 12 o'clock, will be BHHS Resource Flyers. So if you've got time, come check us out for flyers. If not, maybe we'll see you tomorrow for the 10 and 11 o'clock. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you all.